So let's talk about section 2. Section 2 is a little bit easier than section 1, although the first question is relatively more complicated because it gets involved into the concept of interpretation. It's not going to test it your exam, but it's always a good idea to know how to. So basically, in this question, we have the current dividend $5.4. The 5-year dividend growth rate is 5. The perpetual growth rate is 4%. Required return is 11%. So basically, what we're talking about for the first 5 years is 5 plus 8. I put that absolute self-reference to indicate this is always the case. All right. And for year 10, this is to be percent. Idea of the interpretation is basically we don't want to just become 0 for those years between the high growth rate. We want them to decrease over time by a fixed rate. We call these techniques interpretation. Right? Basically, it was decrease from 15% to 5% over 5 years. So that is 10% decrease for 5 years, which is we're going to decrease by 2%. The same thing here wants to gradually increase from this number, increase by how much? So this is how much? The difference between the high rate versus over a couple of years higher. That is basic from year 5. That is basic 5. Should say is rate for high minus rate for the rate for low minus. Wants to fix this equation so the difference between the high and low always the same. Therefore, the years or the 5 always the same. By this equation, we are able to get the growth rate over the next couple of years. Again, it's not going to be in the exam, but it's just that you want to know. And with the growth rate for dividend, we are able to calculate the dividend each year. And so now the dividend starting with 0 multiplied by the first dividend growth. The second year dividend, the first year dividend as this. We don't have to do it one by one. The equation to the dividend. So we know starting from year 10 is going to be a constant growth model. So this is the 2-state model or non-constant model, right? Now we have to calculate the price at year 10 using the dividend next year, which is 1, which is D11. Fine. That give us the price at year 10. Price today. We know we are able to use this NPV function. The rate will be 11%, and the value will be from year 1 to 9. We'll leave this 10 out because we have a year 10 dividend, 10 price. So comma, add the 10 cash flow together, close the parentheses. That's the stock price of 58. Again, the citing of this question seems complicated, but the whole process is much easier to understand. So question B is to look at how sensitive the stock price. Here we calculate to the change in this long-term growth, which is 4%. Talk about. So we can use it using a data table. For data table, we always start with the benchmark, is the one that we just calculated. And then we're going to select the whole area, go to data, what if analysis, then table here. We're changing column names about column names. And also this is row percent, which is the can make the calculation. So you see our stock price is quite sensitive. If our benchmark is 1%, but if the growth rate is 10%, the stock price can go as high as $575. So this is for this one. And for the other is about the stock valuation using multiples. So this one, we have payout ratio 20%, and the P ratio is 15%. In question C, so we have the similar stuff. We have the 10-year 10P ratio, return earnings, price, calculate the price. For this question, the 10-year 10P ratio is and we go to B61. So this is our P ratio, right? So this is our P ratio, which is 15. P earnings is what we have L17. Or earnings. This is earnings or dividend divided by this 6. This payout ratio, right? Remember, this is our dividend. We are paying out 25%. Basically, this 25% is equal to this. So we're using dividend over 25% that can derive the earnings for us. Right? So that 991. So therefore, the stock price in our case is simply earnings multiplied with the P ratio. So that would be 688.66. So the stock price today, we can simply using PV function that were or that will be discount rate. We'll go back to our discount percent, comma, and then we are going to consider the dividend as well. So that will be our C17 all the way to T17. And for the mass, we consider the difference by L17, which is dividend plus our calculation, the stock price that calculated for 10. That would give us another estimation of this stock price, which is 291.06. But that's relatively easier calculation than this dividend growth model. And the next question is also how sensitive is this? So we're using the data table. The benchmark is C17, and then we're going to this what if analysis data table. Again, this is column, but the number that we're changing is this P ratio. So this is ratio 61. Is we're able to get the stock price for different ratios. And that's pretty much it for section 2.